Hello everyone, my name is Sade Boone and today I'm here to talk to you about the consequences of freedom of speech with the aspect of technology. When it comes to freedom of speech, it can be expressed in so many ways. If you look around, you will see people voicing their opinion without a care in the world or without even thinking on what might happen to them. So in this discussion, I will be talking to you about whether or not freedom of speech should have consequences behind its action with the respect on technology. In this day and time, people have started to use the internet and other forms of digital communication to express what is on their mind or how they feel. According to the article Internet Speech, the digital revolution have produced the most diverse and amplified communication medium humans have ever had, which is the internet. Even though the internet is a go-to place for people to go express their thoughts and feelings, there are still restrictions on what you should say or do on the internet, and there should be consequences to people's actions. In the world today, people are voicing their opinions, and whether it's on the news, at a rally, or even social media. People have been exercising their right of freedom of speech for years. So do we really know the true meaning of freedom of speech? Where should we draw the line when it comes to freedom of speech? When people are expressing themselves, there's always somebody on the other end who is watching them, and there will always be somebody out there that will have a different opinion than them. When it comes to freedom of speech, people should let their voices be heard. But if they're in the wrong, there should be consequences to their action. So first, let's get into freedom of speech and learn a little bit more about freedom of speech. Freedom of speech was adopted into the United States Constitution as the First Amendment back in 1991. Freedom of speech is described as the ability to express our opinion and speak freely is essential to being about change in society, according to the website Index on Censorship. Freedom of speech can either be written or spoken speech. For instance, freedom of speech centuries ago were opinions of people that were of all cultures being able to vocal about things that may or may not mean something to somebody, and it was truly a privilege. Some countries were killing people just for having an opinion and expressing their opinion. But nowadays, the definition of freedom of speech has changed dramatically over the last centuries. And since technology has been created, people have used technology to express their thoughts and opinion. According to how freedom of speech in the digital age is changed, the internet has proven to be a powerful tool for aiding in free speech in the digital age, has made it possible for political activists to discuss different things and concepts with a wider audience than ever before. With having such a big platform, people feel as though using technology will better spread the word to more people than being out and doing it out in the street somewhere. For example, most activists will use social media to protest their cause. They still might have protests out in the public, but they will still use the internet to reach out to more people nationwide. They use technology as a powerful source for freedom of speech. When it comes to technology, social media plays a big part in freedom of speech. According to the website VestTech, social media sites and services serve as a mouthpiece for those who would otherwise lack a global presence entirely. Many organizations and people all over the world have used social media in one way or another as a platform for freedom of speech. For example, Facebook and Twitter is two of the most biggest social media platforms that people use to go express how they feel. Like when you go on Facebook or Twitter, when you first get on the platform, the first thing they will ask you is what is on your mind or what is happening, giving users the opportunity to express their thoughts through their site. Technology has also made other social media such as Snapchat and other apps as a platform for users to use videos as a way to express freedom of speech as well. With these platforms, it has given people all over the world access to their feelings without having to be present or in public. So when it comes to technology, freedom of speech do people really have the right to say anything they want without consequences following their actions? I feel as though it's okay for people to express their feelings towards something, but sometimes people take their thoughts to a whole different level. People's voices should be heard, but should not violate the laws. Even though freedom of speech is a law within the United States Constitution, there are limits to what people can and cannot say on and off the internet. With freedom of speech being a one-stop shop, people think there is a place where the First Amendment could be utilized as a shield to protect them from the Constitution and the consequences of their words. There has been many times when people have used free speech as an outlet to express their feelings in a bad way, and they had to suffer consequences. People just can't go around giving hate speeches or fighting words just because it's against the law, and they have to respect the law, and they will have to suffer the consequences. For example, people can't just go on the internet and say, "Oh, I'm going to kill the president of the United States." It's against the law to threaten a public figure. The government can come after you and give you some type of punishment for threatening the president. There has been many cases where people have used technology to express their feelings, and they have lost their jobs, kids, and freedom because of freedom of speech. According to the website Post Bulletin, a male Google employee was fired because he published an article about diversity in the company and how it is not enough women in the tech industry, and that he was not a sexist and not stereotyping, which in this case, the statement was proven false by Google. Even though he had the right to speak his mind, he had to suffer the consequences of his action. So Google fired him for violating the company's standards. Speaking your mind about certain situations can cause people the world of trouble, but they have to take the responsibility and face the consequences. There is consequences to anything you do, whether it's right or wrong, good or for good or bad reasons. When it comes to freedom of speech, people should express how they feel. Everyone have the entitlement to say what is on their mind, but should also be mindful of what they say. Since technology has grown over the years, people have been expressing free speech on so many platforms all over the world just by using technology. Whether it's through social media, TV, or any other technology, people's voices are being heard and they are responsible for their actions. Just because freedom of speech is the right to express opinions without government restraint, that doesn't give the people the right to go out and say whatever they want without expecting consequences. There is laws in place for this reason, and people should follow the right by the laws. So this is the conclusion to my video, and I hope you learned something throughout me discussing the consequences of freedom of speech with the aspect of technology. I hope you really enjoyed. Thank you for watching.